Hello, today we're going to be decorating some paper with some acrylic paint. This kind of paint is permanent and it is very colorful and it's really awesome. You will want to make sure that you're wearing an apron to protect your clothes, and you'll want to make sure that you get your brushes nice and clean. So we're going to be coating this completely from top to bottom and side to side with paint. So you're going to want to put your paper on something to protect your table, and you can paint this any way you choose, whichever way you think looks good. And it doesn't have to be a picture of a thing. In fact, it shouldn't be. It should just be an interesting looking design, just colorful and wonderful. When you need a new color, please rinse your brush really clean before you put it into a new color. So as I said before, you can decorate your paper any way you choose. There's no right or wrong way to do this, and you can change it as you go. So if you're not happy with the way that it is, you can paint over what you painted and paint something on top of it. I'm going to rinse my brush and I'm going to add another color to this. So now I have a nice clean brush so I don't muddy up my colors. And I'm going to add some more different colors to this. Now if I go ahead and I dip my paintbrush back into that orange, I'm going to get these other colors in there. So I'm going to rinse my brush before I dip it back into the orange. So I just cleaned out my brush. And I'm starting to like what I see here. So I think that looks nice. I'm going to put this aside for a little while and I'm going to add something to it in a little bit. So that's going to go to the side, and while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm going to paint my second paper. Everybody's going to get to do two. With a clean brush, I'm getting a new color. Oh, a little bit of red was on my tray, so I pulled it onto my paper, and I actually think it looks kind of nice, so I'm going to leave it there. I rinsed out my brush so I can get some other colors in here. At your table, you might have a different color combination. You might not have the exact same colors as me, and you'll be able to choose the table you work at so that you can choose the colors that you want to use. I'll have different color families and different groupings, and you'll just use whichever ones you like at the table where you are selecting to sit. Cleaning out my brush again, getting a little more yellow on here. All right, I like this. I'm going to set this one aside and go back to my first one. And on the top of this one, I've decided I'm going to paint the entire thing black right over on top of the red. So I'm squeezing the extra paint out of my brush, or extra water out of my clean brush, so that it's a little drier. And then I'm going to paint some black right on top of this. And in some spots it might fade out a little bit to pink on the sides, which is fine. The black is covering it really well. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is get my paint scraper and scrape some interesting looking patterns and designs into this. So as you can see, when you scratch away the black, the color that you painted underneath is revealed. So I like the way that looks. And that's going to contrast nicely because I have one dark painting and then my other painting is quite bright and light, and it's good to have a contrast for this project, so you have one dark and one light. So this is going to be a really good combination. So keep in mind, this paint is permanent. It will ruin your clothes, and it will ruin the brushes and the tables and anything else that gets dried onto. So make sure that you clean off your tools really well and you wash out your brushes even more than you think you might need to. Get them incredibly clean. One way to test to see if it's actually clean is after you rinse it out really well, if you scrape it along the edge and you can see color is still coming out of the brush bristles, then you know it's not completely clean. Another way you can do it is after you do this and your brush water is starting to come out pretty clear, you can dab it onto a paper towel and see if the water looks clear in there, and that one looks like it's still a little dirty. So you want to make sure that you get them really clean. These things go on the drying rack, and we're going to do something completely awesome with these. I can't wait. I hope you're excited about this because I am.